What's going on, everybody?
We back on a Thursday night again.
Glad to be back.
Yes, how everybody doing tonight?
Hey, I'm doing fantastic as usual.
Wonderful, absolutely wonderful. I'm telling
Right.
you.
All right. Tonight we coming at y'all. We got a different topic tonight. I think it's pretty good. The topic tonight is the bubble we raise our kids in doing them more harm than good versus children who are not raised in that bubble.
Wow. Okay.
And this is on Facebook and YouTube. So if you guys are on, you're watching, you want to add a comment or you want to ask a question, please type it over so we can address it. And let's get this show rolling. We back with our two.
Let me say one thing.
Sure.
To the audience out there,
Mhm.
if you want your comment seen in the chat while we're going live, you have to put it in through YouTube and not Facebook.
Okay.
Your comments will be seen on Facebook when we log on to Facebook. But if you want your comments to be viewed live, you have to do that from YouTube.
All right. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
All right. Okay. So we got McKinney back.
Hey!
There you go. And we got Jamal back again.
Hey!
What's going on, people? What's going on?
Everything all right? Everything all right?
So I want to get started with how this topic came up tonight.
All right.
Me and McKinney was on the phone a little bit earlier, and we were talking about our kids and some situations that had came up, and we was like, did we get them to this the level that let me see, did we get them prepared for the situations that had arrived? Did we shelter them too much? Was the bubble too, yeah.
All right, I get it.
And that's how we got here, because it was, we want to talk about it. So, McKinney, you want to take this one? Go ahead.
I'll give it a whirl. This is a kind of a hard subject because we got kids that are when we say raised in a bubble, we got to define that.
Okay.
I'm in my mind, I'm thinking we're defining that as kids that's kind of raised in a sheltered environment,
right?
Pretty much raised in the home, versus kids that are kind of more or less raised by the streets, maybe.
Right.
If that's what we're talking. I think
that's
my own point.
That we on point. You're exactly where we at.
Well,
I think that's what I would say.
Me personally, I'm gonna say, kids that I was raised. I had a great mom, but I chose to go to the streets when I was young, and so she didn't push me out there. That's just what I chose. Okay, so I want to say that. So I got a point of view on that side. Then with my children, was more of a home raising or whatnot. So now, as far as I go, I think that me being raised, kind of more or less raised by the values as a street, there's some things that I can say that I got that was very useful.
Okay.
Yeah, that's if I could say that. If I could say that. Some of the things, I got to learn how to deal with people on a basis of kind of being able to read them and understanding their intentions and whatnot, and knowing what and what not to say in certain situations, and knowing how to conduct myself in certain situations, and also knowing when a situation is about to get out of hand beforehand. I was taught to be able to, peep those kind of situations, and
right.
I could either get in and get out or avoid it.
Right.
that was my choice. So, with that being said, if I, but at the same time, I had the intelligence. If I had you kind of stayed into that bubble, I probably would have been an attorney or something now. You
Right.
see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think it's safe to say that there's pros and cons on each side, and we're open to discuss them tonight to
That's
find
right.
that's just a brief little small little tidbit that I had to say about that. So
Mm-hmm.
if it's okay, I like to turn another part of this discussion over to Mr. Jamal.
Go ahead, Jamal.
Yeah, I guess I can look at myself, I guess, for a minute if I can, because
Mhm.
McKinney's known me for for years,
Mm-hmm.
and I've always kind of considered myself to be a person that was. I know I wasn't raised in the street. I can say it that way,
Mm-hmm.
but I had a familiarity with a
Right.
lot of what went on in the streets. I had a lot of
Mhm.
people I could be around. I knew how to live in. I know how to be around. I ain't gonna say I can live in it, but I
Right.
knew how to be around and handle myself in pretty much any situation I could be in. It wouldn't matter if I'm at a church with church people and preachers, or whether we had a football game with people clowning, or whether I'm in the street with some of the dope boys hanging out doing whatever. I knew how to kind of handle myself in those arenas, for the most part. But I would probably say I was probably brought up more in that. I would say that bubble. I could
Okay.
probably consider myself
Okay.
being a bubble. Kind of coming up in a bubble because when my mom and dad divorced, it was just my mom. So and the bubble wasn't something that I'm gonna say it this way. I don't even think it was a bubble that she really tried to put around me. It was
Mm-hmm.
just kind of a bubble that was almost born out of necessity, because she
Mm.
was working. It was certain things she depended on me to be able to take care of and do, and so a
Right.
lot of that required me to be in a certain place at a certain time to make sure
Mhm.
certain stuff happened. So
Right.
that bubble kind of came out of a necessity, not so much out of a I'm not gonna let you go, but so far I let you do it so much.
Okay.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that did translate into a lot of how I parented, I can say. And so I do know that I was a parent that parented from a bubble, and I kind of and I think I had my children in a bit of a bubble.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Okay.
and so I definitely can see that. There are certain things that I think that my 'cause I have a son who's autistic, so his bubble is truly his own bubble.
I get it. I get it.
Right.
Yeah.
Truly his own
He,
bubble.
he does
Right.
his own thing.
Right.
Truly his own bubble.
He
Yeah.
does his own thing.
Yeah, he
Right.
he he on his own. Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
But then when it comes to my daughter, she was definitely a part of a bubble. Even as I heard the topic and I thought about it, my mind kind of went back. I could see the bubble that she was in, and it took us slowly but surely being able to kind of pop that bubble, to kind of let her out, because
Wow.
like you
Yeah.
said, there were certain things that I know that she's about to come in, that the bubble's not going to be able to protect her from. And so
Mm-hmm.
she needs to know how to handle. And if we don't teach her how to handle it before she gets in it, then it's gonna be a mess when she get there. And so I knew that's something that needed to be done. And so my wife and I, we were able to make that happen.
Okay.
Okay. And that's something I want to do you think, but when you kind of y'all both kind of already addressed that, but I want to go back to it because we were raised in somewhat of that. Do you think that affected the way that we parented our children? Because I know it affected the way that I parented mine, because I was raised, in a sheltered environment, and but I still, when I got out and started to trying to find myself and do things myself, that didn't help me a lot.
Well, charisma now, if I may say,
Go ahead.
um, it's a direct effect of the
Mhm.
parenting, and
Mhm.
I'm gonna say this right here. Sometimes you can have a kid that's over traumatized by
Mhm.
the lack of whatever they may need in their life, and that could catapult that kid into doing something different.
Mhm.
Okay. Then also you can have a kid that's been traumatized by the bubble being too small, and that'll push them into the street. You see?
Mhm.
So with and then also we got that's just one side. We also got you know to look at okay, what if I raise my child to be a gang member? Because you got some kids
Mm.
that parents were born and raised in
Absolutely.
gangs and they raise their kids that way. Okay,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
When it's time for that child um be acclimated in the mainstream society, they won't hardly be able to adapt.
Hmm.
Now,
Okay.
however, you got a child that's gone to college or
Hmm.
gone off to live in another city or just living by themselves, they may run into another element somewhere
Hmm.
down the line
Mm-hmm.
that they don't understand.
Right.
So that's gonna be a con on that side because a
Mm-hmm.
street a guy from the streets or a girl from the streets is gonna take a dude that's green for everything he got. If he
Fact.
ain't
Right.
careful,
Yep.
yeah. And if he
Exactly.
Yes.
ain't showing up careful, they'll set him up and have something happen to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Mm-hmm.
that little change or that little chain that his mama put on and think they got some money.
Yeah. That's true. So,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
so how do we do? So, with raising y'all kids, how did the balance come about? Where okay, they couldn't be too well, you want them too sheltered, but you
Right.
also know that they need to have some sense of street smart to be able to maneuver in the
Mm-hmm.
world. Because we were saying earlier, McKinney, you know, when somebody see my son, they just see a black child.
Right.
When
Yeah.
I
Mm-hmm.
see my son, that's my baby.
That's
Or
your
my
baby.
daughter, that's my
Right.
baby.
When
That's
he's
it.
out driving in that car by himself,
Mm-hmm.
all they see is a black man.
A black man, right?
And,
Mm-hmm.
Lord knows, don't let him have a little size on him and
Yeah.
some
Right.
facial hair or
Mm-hmm.
whatnot.
Right.
That's they look so that's what they see. So
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say this, and then I'm gonna let you speak, Jamal.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm gonna say this, man. When we raise our kids, normally around the time kids 18, 19, especially if they going to college or whatnot, that's when they leave the nest, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Let's take a round number of 20, right?
Mm-hmm.
If that
Okay.
kid lived to be 60 years old, they're gonna spend 40 years outside and 20 years inside of the
Okay.
house.
Mm-hmm.
I feel
If
you.
your child is gonna spend the majority of their life outside of your house, I think it's best to prepare them to leave and live. And you see them instead of having
Mm-hmm.
an inside
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
mentality, get them
Right.
prepared to have an outside mentality. And
Mm-hmm.
I'll talk about that a little further later on. Go ahead, Jay.
And I think you absolutely right, man. I love the way you put that because you kind of put it in perspective a little bit. They're gonna spend more time out than they will in, so
Right,
you might as well prepare them for that.
right.
Um, I think a lot of times what happens to us, at least is what I hear a lot of, is that we as parents often sometimes I'm trying to be as general as I can, but we sometimes try to keep our children from we try to make them avoid certain situations and
Right.
certain things a lot of times
Hmm.
in the thinking that that's actually helping them.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yes.
in some instances that could be true, but in a lot of instances we actually could be crippling them.
Right.
And I
Mm-hmm.
say crippling them because now we're not giving them certain life skills that they'll only get unless they have those experiences.
Right.
Exactly.
Um, it's certain things that your child will only get unless they get it, unless they have the truth do it outside of you. Like a primary example is, and that's something I'm thinking about even too. Like my daughter, when she was in high school, she was blessed with the opportunity to kind of do what they call a little dual enrollment stuff, right?
Okay.
So
Right.
she was able to take some college classes at the same time.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so now, but you know how it is in the public school system now. In the
Hmm.
public school system, they have PTO meetings and other stuff. Parents can be involved. Parents can call and get all the information. This is that and the third. Find out what's going
Hmm.
on.
All right.
But y'all know if you've ever stepped foot in the college classroom, they don't care nothing about mom and daddy.
Right.
That's true. That is very
They don't care
true.
nothing about mom and
I just
daddy.
had that
Mom and dad have
situation.
no say so.
Yeah.
Right.
Mom and dad have no say so in that
Yep.
classroom. Whatever.
Right.
Your mama can't call tomorrow. They was sick last night and they didn't couldn't do
Mm-hmm.
this. None
Right.
of that.
Right.
Now
And it doesn't matter that she was a high school student.
I
They
want
still
to.
hold up to the same standards that they hold the college students to.
Now,
Oh, I'm
Right.
sorry. Go ahead.
you right. No, no. You know, there's someone named Herbs LLC that put a
Mm-hmm.
comment up, and I want to throw it on the screen.
Okay.
And and maybe someone might want to wait a minute. No, charisma.
Yes.
Look in the chat section over there
Mm-hmm.
and open it up. There's somebody named Herbs LLC. Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Could you read that?
Mm. Mm.
Right.
Okay, it says,
Mm-hmm.
Wednesday Herbs LLC. This person wrote, in a lot of situations, you can raise a child in the way you would have them to go, but they choose their own paths. And she
Mm-hmm.
also, well, I'm sorry, the path can be left or right.
Okay. Who wants to take
You
Absolutely.
this?
want to take this one?
Mhm.
That's absolutely true. I've
Mhm.
seen that. I've seen that with some of my friends, parents who have, from the outside looking in, parents have provided everything they could financially,
Mhm.
provided great home life, provided
Mhm.
everything that they needed to kind of set them up, so to speak, was there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm just being honest. Everything they needed was there. Support the
Right.
whole nine. But yet and still, they chose to kind of go do some other stuff.
That's a
Right.
good point. That's a good point.
Mhm.
And
Wednesday Herb
I mean,
LLC.
Yes.
and it's
Mhm.
like it's really, and it used to baffle me
Right.
because I can understand you making some of those. I mean, that was just from my point of view. I can understand you making certain choices when you didn't have the assistance or when you didn't
Right.
have some of that support. But it kind of blew my mind to see, well, how you got all this stuff, but yet you still choosing to do this. But I
Right.
mean, it's all depends on it is all about what was attractive to them, I guess, or what lured them more. And then
Right.
again, it could have been a lot of emptiness behind. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what they were getting. They were apparently they were getting something over here that they wasn't getting over there, and
Yeah.
so it drew them out there. So
Mm-hmm.
Right.
that person who made that comment is dead on it. You can
Mm-hmm.
actually provide everything that you're supposed to as a parent, and
Hmm.
that child still may make a decision to do otherwise.
Well,
Okay.
I've seen.
I tell you, as a former educator, I'm sorry. This is my last piece. As a former
No,
educator,
you
I've
good.
seen it. I,
Right.
I I've seen parents who've come in, and I know some of these parents are,
Okay.
well to do, taking care of their business and all that stuff.
Right.
Children come to school with supplies and all the whole nine, but that child just will not do
To
it.
I
do.
get it.
I
Right.
mean,
Now.
just will not do it.
Hmm.
Disturbance in class, won't do the work, and it's not that they couldn't do the work,
Right. Right.
just wouldn't do it. And so,
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you definitely have to. I know that's a difficult thing for a parent to see, to know that you are. And I see some parents that almost break down in tears in conferences,
Mm-hmm.
just
Mhm.
that I'm doing my absolute best. I'm trying to be there. If I'm working these 2 or 3 jobs, I'm doing everything I know to do, providing it, giving them what they want, what they need, and I'm still getting these results.
Okay. Well, let me
And
ask
I
you
still
this.
don't understand why they're choosing
Let
this.
me ask you this, because I mean, you know, I hear exactly what you're saying, Jay. But I want to ask a question, but then
Okay.
I also want to say something real quick. Herbs LLC, if you would like to come in on the podcast, throw your number
Come and
out there.
join.
We'll send you a link and we can bring you in.
Right.
Uh, but here's the thing. So is that kind of saying that maybe through DNA, some kids are just predisposed to do certain things?
Whoa.
It sounds like you're talking nature versus nurture.
I'm just saying.
Right.
Eh, eh, I just I've seen a child.
Mm-hmm.
One
Hmm.
second, career. 1 second.
Okay.
I've seen
Hmm.
children
Okay.
not being raised by either of their parents and wind
Okay.
up doing the same things that their parents did.
Absolutely.
Okay, go ahead, Miss Career.
Absolutely.
No, because that's a valid point. Because that got me kind of baffled a little bit to think about it. That, like you said, if a child has never been raised with neither one of the parents, yet they have those same traits that their
Right,
parents have. So
right,
is it,
It happens.
you know,
It
right.
happens.
Predisposed.
predisposed? So
Hmm.
I
Right.
guess my other part of it would be, well, do we sometimes look at it that I know we conversate with our children. We talk to them a lot.
Okay.
And
Hmm.
I think I came up in a home where we didn't, the stuff that I talk to my kids about, it
Right.
was not talked about.
Okay.
Right.
And so does that still have a part to play in it also? Um, that it's not, we don't have conversations because we expect kids to know they're not supposed to do certain things.
I believe so, Charisma,
Hmm.
because I think
That definitely. Hmm.
some kids, even if okay, a kid has an idea of some kind of way what they kind of want to do, I think some things, some conversations that we have with them can actually change their direction.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Absolutely.
By being open and honest, and also sometimes self-disclosing. You know, I tell my kids all the time, hey, man, I was amazed. I
Me
messed
too.
up. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I
Me
messed
too.
up. I
Mhm.
did
Yep.
this, I did that. Yeah, yeah, I've been to jail. I did all of this
Yep.
stuff.
Tell my
But
kids. Mm-hmm.
yeah, but we gotta
It,
learn. It's something that I shared with my Now I ain't gonna say we gotta learn. You can take this or leave it.
Okay.
You gotta With that being said, I had a conversation with my children, and I tell them, I say, hey,
Mm-hmm.
when they come to me with the same problems, kind of, recurrently, I say to them, I say, at some point, you've got to learn to trust what I say to you and try it without trying to figure out, understand everything I'm saying before you do it. And
Yeah.
the reason I say
Mhm.
that because there are some people out here that when their parents died, they were lost.
Oh
Oh,
man.
absolutely.
They were
Oh
Absolutely.
yes.
they were because
Yes.
the parents have always done so much for them.
Oh my goodness. That's a
Yeah,
oh
and then
wow.
after that, they wind up being gator bait. After that,
Yep.
once yeah, and the world can use them and abuse them until they figure it out, or until the death of them.
Well, let me ask you this because I hear this a lot in this generation
Right.
of not our generation, but a couple generations the I would say probably 35 and down.
Hmm.
They have a tendency of saying, well, our community is the only community that chooses to, not help their kids or not do this. It's the entitlement generation is what I call them. So, what do we do with that when, okay, you want to continuously be helped, but that goes back to what McKinney just said. If the parent is always coming to the rescue, continuously helping you, if
Right.
something was to happen to your parent, how do you survive? If you so used to that person or those two people being your safety nets, when do that safety nets leave?
One example of how y'all might y'all might not like this. The viewing audience may not like this, but I'm gonna say it.
Go for it.
Okay. One example that I got a proven situation that shows that this works.
Okay.
One day I was sitting out cooking. My daughter, she probably was about maybe 6, 7. I was on the grill,
Mm-hmm.
and I was on the cell phone, and I saw her reach over to touch the grill, and I was like, "No, baby, that grill is hot. Don't touch it." She snatched her hand back, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I got on the phone again, talking. I saw her reach over to touch it again. I said, "No, baby, don't touch that grill. It's hot." She snatched her hand back, right?
Right.
I saw her reaching over again while I was on the phone. I turned my head like this. Yeah. And I heard her say, "Ow!" And I grabbed the hand. I said, "Dad." I said, baby hand,
Mm-hmm.
brother. I went to blow on the hand. She never touched it again.
Isn't it- So
Mhm.
sometimes they're gonna have to hit their head. They're
They
gonna
gonna
have a
you're gonna have to let them bump their head
head.
in a controlled environment.
Right, right,
It's called natural
Right.
consequences.
Right,
right,
right.
right,
Natural
Yeah,
consequences.
yeah, natural,
Exactly
yeah.
what that is.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're gonna have to let them because she heard hot. People move away from hot, but she ain't
Right.
felt hot. I had to let her see hot for
Yeah,
herself.
yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jay.
And see, I'm gonna say that, McKinney, because you gave a great example to prove it.
Right.
Because see, if we honest with ourselves as adults, we were the same way. See, a
Right.
lot of times, the more we're told not to do something, is the more intriguing it becomes to you
Right.
in
Yes.
certain instances. Because especially with our generation of kids that we have in now, they far more inquisitive. They gonna ask questions, and if you're not giving a suitable answer, then they're gonna kind of start dismissing you, and they're gonna pretty much try on their own anyway.
There you
Yes.
go.
So,
There you go.
Fact.
so,
That's
so,
true.
so, so, and I say that to say this, like, so it's almost better that you guide some of that,
Mm-hmm.
because if they
Yeah.
gonna if they're gonna try some stuff anyway, who would you rather your child hear about sex from, you or somebody else in the
You
street.
need to be
Oh
me.
my goodness. Yes.
You need to be
You
me.
need to guide some of that conversation.
Right,
Because see, because I'm not coming from a place of trying to get nothing from you.
Right.
I'm really
right,
trying to get something to you. You
Right.
know, and
right.
so and see that's really what and see we have. But see, a lot of times as parents, like I said, we get so trying to shelter them and keep them away from certain stuff because some parents are really label under the bus. If I say something about sex, they're gonna make them want to add.
I mean, of course, if I don't
You
tell
don't.
my daughter about sex, some dude is gonna define it for her.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
And as long as they got these, they
right,
got access to
They
everything they
got
want to anyway.
access to that.
right, right,
So you think my conversation with her about sex gonna be the first time she don't seen something or
Mm-hmm.
right.
heard something?
Right.
No,
They got buddies and friends and
the seeing it gonna be one thing, but when the person get describing the action of it, they're gonna glorify it so much they're gonna make her want to do it.
Gonna do it.
make her want
And
to
Yeah,
do it.
hey, yeah, hold that
and
bill.
it
Oh,
is
yeah, oh, yeah,
it's parents out there who that conversation right there,
right.
because hmm, because they are so conditioned not to talk about sex, because you don't talk about that. Okay. And so what they do is they tell their kids, just don't do it. Just don't have it. So if you keep telling me not to do some, it's this and that. At some point, I'm gonna go out there and try to find out what it is. So the best thing for you to do is to have that conversation with me.
You think your kids don't know that they grown parents in the back room having sex, and then talking about don't do it?
Some parents
Thank
don't
you.
think. Some
Thank
parents
you.
are that delusional.
I'm just saying. You think they don't know?
They're
Yes, ma'am.
they're that
So,
delusional.
so they
Come
thinking
on
that
now.
y'all, I came along by y'all not doing it.
Right. How
Right.
did y'all get here, guys?
Find somebody to play with it now.
Right. Come on,
Right.
seriously?
Right, find somebody to play with. You just got to be realistic.
Right.
Because,
And that's what I'm saying. You can't. And see, that's why I said with these days with our children now, you have to talk to them because they live in an information age. I
Right.
mean, we didn't have necessarily access to everything they got access to now.
Right.
right,
So they can access anything.
Mhm.
I mean, literally, they can literally pick up. They only have to type. They can say, "Hey, Siri, Google, look this up," and they can find out anything they want to. And so
Mhm.
it's like we have to make sure that we are talking to them so that they hear it from us first,
right,
and we
Right.
can frame the conversation.
Right.
Because the person that tends to frame the conversation tend to get the results they want.
Those. That's right.
right. Well, I guarantee you this too. I ain't talking about kids.
Okay.
If people saw what crack did before it came out, they wouldn't have smoked it.
Right,
Ooh.
right,
Okay.
absolutely,
All right.
If
right,
they saw what it did,
Right.
they wouldn't have
right,
smoked it. You got
Right.
a lot of people now that's our age that ain't on crack because we saw what crack
That
did.
did. That's right.
right,
That's
exactly.
right.
You saw the
So
effect of it.
yeah, so when know how they have a campaign when kids have an accident, one of the best thing they did was start showing them mangled cars
Yep. Mm-hmm.
and
Hmm.
folks hanging out of them and dummies in them and blood and depiction of
Them
what happened.
scared straight
Right.
things. Yeah.
That
Hmm.
was one of the best things they could have
Hmm.
did.
Yes.
So guess
Hmm.
what? So why won't you opening up the cell phone? You might be watching Pornhub or some other
Hmm.
porn site.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well let me get that same phone and show you what a venereal disease look like.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah, yeah.
Real.
Let me
Hmm.
hold on. Let me that
Yeah.
look. Yeah, because I know y'all looking at it.
Anyway, that's right. If
So
we
we
don't
Exactly.
be real with our children,
right.
somebody else is going to be real with them, like you
There
said.
I'm
you
telling
go.
you that's
And
it.
I
They're gonna tell
prefer
them.
that they're going to go do their own thing anyway. We know
Right.
that. We did
Hmm.
it. But
Mhm.
I would like
Hmm.
to say that I had that conversation. So
Right.
whatever you chose, that was on you. But we
Right.
had this conversation with you. And I think that's one of the biggest things, being want to shelter kids so much that we forget that they're kids. They want to know things, they're gonna do things.
Right.
So are you gonna
Hmm.
talk to them? Are you gonna let their peers talk to them? Or are you gonna let social media talk to them?
Social media
Right.
gonna talk to them whether or not we like it or not.
Right.
Because
Absolutely.
that's gonna be really by the time you feel that your child is even old enough to
Uh-oh.
start talking to,
Uh-huh.
they already people have already been exposed already.
Um,
What do you think?
McKinney, do you and Jamal, y'all see what Wednesday? You might want to come on here. Who you are, because you got who is there?
LLC?
Yes, her
Right.
thing was some children are raising the parents.
Wow.
I've seen that. I've seen that too.
Wow. Wow. Oh yeah.
Come
Wow.
on now.
Hold on. That's hey. That opened up a whole nother can of worms. Wait a
So you
minute.
got
You
the
mean to
cart
tell
before
me?
the horse.
Let me take out my hat. I'm looking at myself.
Uh-huh.
I put my hat back on.
Uh-huh.
I got a beard on my face, and I'm finna let this young joker come raise me. Is you
Yeah.
crazy?
Is you now?
But
I want to tell the audience this. We may, because this is not just a little topic. So if we stray and the audience don't sing, we're gonna bounce off to that too. So we're not getting off the topic. We just doing, going to other things that they're bringing up.
touching points in it, other points.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right. But I don't know. I mean, Karima, what do you think about kids raising their parents? That's a good point.
Let's get it. Oh, well, first of all, I think that it's sad. And I think that the kids that are the children are raising their parents, somewhere that adult stopped at a certain age, had children, but mentally stopped growth at a certain age, and they don't have the ability to raise that child probably past that age they stopped at.
Give me an example of that, Karima.
Okay. A 49-year-old lady.
Okay.
Who chooses to club a lot.
Okay.
Maybe work off and on.
Okay.
But their children are, working and doing all these different things. But they want their kids to take care of the house, to run the house. They have limited say so.
Okay.
Because they want to be their friends. They want to be right. They want to still enjoy their lives pre-kids.
So we would say the kids are actually at some point when a parent lets that kid dictate things to them.
Right. Without a problem. Because they don't want to be the adult in the situation.
Right.
It's easier to just be friends with the child.
What's your thoughts on that, Jamal?
And I agree with Ms. Charisma, and even to the point of children being almost having the authority. I've seen a situation where the children truly seem to be the authority in the house. Okay. And when I say the authority in the house, I mean the parent can say one thing, the child say, no, that ain't what I want to do. And what the child said is what now goes.
Yes.
Ooh, Lord, my mom would have kicked the patch out.
I mean, and so,
oh Lord have mercy. I wouldn't be here right now.
So I mean, but that kind of stuff literally happens. I mean, so it's to the point where some children are literally able to call shots and make in essence make decisions that the parents have to finance.
Right.
Because the child said this is what I want, this is what I don't want. And I'm not talking about just buying stuff. I'm talking about household decision stuff. Stuff that children really shouldn't have a say so in.
Yeah.
But yet and still, if that child says no or what have you, then the parent just caters to whatever that is. And then the child
crazy.
You'll be surprised, sir. You'll be surprised. and the parent literally walks away. Well, that's what they said. I'm like,
yes.
So my thing is, why is the child? What happened to the dynamic? How did y'all lines get so blurred that child now feels bold enough for one to tell you what I'm going to do or not do?
Okay.
In a home that you are providing for them in. So I just don't understand that.
I bet you I'm willing to bet that same adult that let a child run them would try to go jump on another adult about something that child did.
Oh yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, so you want to come try to handle me and you can't handle that little thing right there? You better sit down.
Absolutely.
It was back in the when I was on Facebook. Right. It was this thing going around because they about my child, it would be like a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old or a 5-year-old, 12-year-old That's my best friend. That thing would get me so riled up because for the life of me, I cannot understand how your children become at that age, especially at that critical age of where you're still raising and teaching, how they are your best friend. It got to be some kind of mental block that you have.
I done heard them say that they hug.
They what?
Hug boy.
That's my little man. That's my
That's my
man.
hug. That's my husband right here.
He
And I'm looking at that joke over there. He's got a size 7 shoe on.
Oh wow.
This my husband right here. That what they I've heard. I've heard that thing. Being said. But and the reason I'm saying that, and it's bad that I even have to say that because I'm speaking that I've heard a woman say that. But on the other side, the reason a woman had to say that because I'm one of the man there to help her raising the child.
That's true too.
Okay.
Yeah, so I got to address that too.
Okay.
That's true.
Okay.
That too. Maybe if her daddy was there, if that child dad was there, she wouldn't have even maybe felt like she had to say that. I ain't saying it was right.
Right.
But I don't want to put the cart before the horse either.
Right.
Right.
Okay. So so if the I'm not gonna get it off in too far.
Hey, don't stop. Hey, let go.
This is my thing. Okay, so when you see it getting to that point where is no male in the house,
right?
And the or whatever the situation may be, what do you do as that parent? Whichever parent that's in the house when it's not that other person who needs to, that authority figure that needs to be there.
Shoot, man.
How do you maneuver that situation?
I think it starts with realizing that child needs that other side that you can't offer.
Okay.
So and you have to have a level of self-awareness to realize that all of it can't come from you.
Right.
So if that other parent is not in that child's life, you got to realize that first and foremost, and then you can't be too you can't be too too uptight to allow someone else to come and be a part of what
you letting them Negroes off the hook. Them Negroes need to raise their children.
Hold on, cousin.
If you ain't in the house with your mom, if you ain't in the house with that woman, you still need to be in that child's life.
Oh, I agree with that.
Yeah,
I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Right.
I mean, but I've seen some situations where there may be a death of one spouse or what have you, or and all that. But not in the instance that
you're talking about for the most part now. For the most part.
But now I'm gonna say this. Now, I don't want to keep adding different caveats to this stuff, but you got to think about it. Some of these kids weren't even born out of real relationships.
I get it.
If there wasn't a real relationship,
okay,
then if this child was born was the product of a one night stand,
right?
That man might not even know that, or that man might not even know that child alive.
Okay, let's look at. Okay, you right. You right. Boy,
can I add this in there before you get there?
Go ahead, real.
Or sometimes what we see, because you know how I roll with this, is it that the parent has made it so impossible for that father to actually father those kids?
All of the above.
Okay.
D.
You're not never gonna let us off the hook, sister. Sorry, girls, I'm never gonna let us off the hook. Go ahead.
But now what McKinney said is still wholeheartedly true, because like even in those situations where that mother is making it impossible, if you are truly a father who wants to be active in that child's life, you'll try to move heaven and earth to be there. If you're trying to be there, you will try to be there.
Right.
So, I mean, if you want to be there, I'm sorry, you will try your best to be there. If that means you have to take her to court, but it can't always be about you trying to,
right.
I got interrupted. That was my child just calling me. See.
No, that's all good. What you doing, Daddy?
Exactly. That was her FaceTiming me. Took me off my screen.
Right.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but you know, if you really want to be there, then you know you're gonna try your absolute best to be there. But
Right.
again, we know that doesn't always happen.
Right.
Right.
Because I think, like I see Herbs LSC saying, like, what if that father's a deadbeat? Or the
Mm-hmm.
other parent, or the parent is a deadbeat? Because you got deadbeat moms and deadbeat dads.
There you
You
go.
know, and
Now I
so
want to I want to I
I,
want to ask you this. I want to ask both of y'all
mhm.
this.
Okay.
With all those scenarios, deadbeat dad, you know, the scenario with the one night stand, statistically, which one of the scenarios y'all think have the greatest number? Men that have had kids that have from women and just left and decide not to deal with that child, one night stand, or either the other. Statistically, what do you think? Or
I
we
think
can look at the
I
numbers
think
to
your
find
first
out.
one is I think your first one is probably what's happened more. I would imagine
That's
where
why.
there was
So
a where there was a relationship and it went sour, and so now you know one or two of those parents is no longer um, wanting to be around.
to my point, let's just say it's out of 100%, let's say it's 20% the marital one night stand. Let's say it's 20% the other, and let's say it's 60% just the guy just not choosing to take care of the child.
Correct.
If we
Okay.
had a 60% increase of men taking care of their children, we'll be winning.
We would be winning. Well,
Yeah,
then we would have a then we well come on because you know if we're gonna have this conversation,
right.
well we're gonna have to close out. Let's do this. So
Okay.
that means that we have to go back to who are we choosing to have children with?
Well, you right about that.
Because they're
You-
going, if we want to get, these 60% of
Mm-hmm.
men up and we keep having children from, as we say, deadbeats or, whatever, you know,
Well, the reason I say that is because I think a lot of the kids, me personally,
mhm.
and I was saying that, and I'm saying that I'm going to tie it into the subject.
Go ahead.
I believe that that's the reason absentee fathers, I think, is a lot of the reason these kids go astray.
I believe that.
That's my
Oh yeah,
personal.
absolutely.
I believe that.
I
I
think
believe
that's the
so.
first.
I believe
I
that.
think that's the first problem.
Hmm.
That's my
Mm-hmm.
opinion. Some of the other things
Mm-hmm.
are just, are add-ons after that. But I think, for the most part, if you look, at the kids that have had a healthy relationship with their father, even though he went in the house, statistically, they're different kids.
They're different kids.
Mm-hmm.
They
Right.
are.
You see what I'm
Um,
saying?
and I can speak that from my personal experience.
Right.
Um, my father did not was not in the house with me. I
Okay.
was privileged enough to also have a father that was in the house with me also,
Okay.
but I knew who my dad was. He made his presence very known
Okay.
with me,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not the same.
I got you.
It's not the same. It is
Mm-hmm.
absolutely not the same. Because see, you're looking at, that parent, um, hmm, that parent that's in the house with their child, if that's not their child,
Okay.
it is, I don't care how good of a relationship
Mm-hmm.
it is always a certain
Not the
level that you're
same.
not gonna go with that child
Wow.
versus
Mm-hmm.
what you will with your children. And that's just
Right.
anybody say anything different. It's a certain level that you're gonna take it with, and because you gotta keep it.
I
Um,
believe,
go ahead.
I believe that to be true because I know some kids that grew up in a house and they had different fathers. And when one of them kid father would come pick him up all the time and bring one of them toys, and he got three more
Mm-hmm.
brothers, boy, they would kick his butt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
They,
Yeah.
they hated the fact that their daddy wasn't coming over there, wasn't bringing them toys, and boy, and
Hmm.
Right.
their dad will buy a little something for them, but he gonna always show that special attention to the child that's his.
Yes, he
And
is.
boy, just as soon as he pull off, woo, they used to kick his butt so good back there in that back room. Yes,
Mhm.
hey,
That's
they,
very true.
they call his daddy ugly.
I can't with you. Was he ugly? I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's why your daddy ugly. Yeah, yeah, kids are fools, man. But go ahead.
What you want to
And
add
I
to
mean, and
that,
Mr. Raven too.
Jamal?
I mean, and I agree with y'all on that too, man, wholeheartedly. And I think not trying to go so deep, man, but I think sometimes we kind of lose too focus on what And I'm gonna speak from about fathers since I am one. I think we kind of lose sometimes what a father really brings, and what a father means to the life of a child, whether they're
Mm.
there or not there. Let me say that,
Mhm.
because in essence, if we want to think about it, man, a father gives you your identity.
Yep.
Like, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
That gives you your identity, man. That's where that's almost becomes that's like the essence of who you are to a
Right.
degree. And it's like if that's unknown to you, if you don't have if you can't really look and see, this is who I am, this is who I come from, this is
Right.
what that that's a huge void.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And even though I'm saying get another guy in there, if that man is not available for whatever reason, it still won't quite be the same, like Miss Charisma said. But at least there won't be emptiness there.
Right.
Right.
Because
Right.
sometimes because if there's emptiness there, it can be filled with anything.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
If you
You're
right.
right.
want to be if you want to be honest, if they're just completely empty in that front,
Right.
you don't want that's what you don't want. You want someone to
Right.
be able to pour into them and to kind of give them a sense of purpose, sense of direction of who I am. And so that's
Mm-hmm.
what a father should be able to do for their
Wow,
children.
man, Jamal, that deep, man.
And
It's
so yeah,
That's deep.
yeah, and so I think that's what frustrates me so is because it's like, yeah, we know we're supposed to provide and take care of this and that and the third, all that.
Right.
I have no problem with none of that
Mhm.
because that's what I'm supposed to do.
Right.
But don't discount the role of that man in that child's life,
ooh wee.
Right.
because I'm telling you, and I can speak because I was a young boy
Mm-hmm.
whose parents were already divorced, and so I know when you hit certain ages, it is almost imperative that a man of some
Man,
caliber be around.
what you
That's
It
true.
is it
yeah.
is it is imperative, and I
Because
don't care
like
how
he
you slice
said,
it.
that those empty spots are not filled with, so these are just spots open for whatever that somebody's
For
gonna bring
whatever,
in. Yeah.
Right.
for whatever.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
truly
I
believe this. I
love
have
that,
a good.
man.
I
Yeah.
I have a good friend of mine right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
He and okay, he had a son. They had a son. He and a young lady had a child. Had a
Mhm.
son, and for years he really wanted custody of his son. For the longest.
Right.
And so I was so proud that one day when he hit me up and he called me, he said, "Man," he said, "Guess what?" He said, "My son, I have him. He'll be here next month." I said, I'm just kind of not really realizing the magnitude of his comment. I said,
Mm-hmm.
"Okay, man, what y'all finna do? Go kind of kick it." It was getting close to summertime. I said, "No, he's coming. I'm gonna have him from now on."
Wow.
I think he
Wow.
was turning 12. He was turning 12 years old,
Yes.
Mm.
and I think he finally got the mother to understand. Look, I need him, and he needs me.
Yeah.
You have done great. I had to reassure her. I'm not saying that you've done anything wrong, but I
Right.
need my son,
Yes.
and my son needs me, and I
Right.
need you to give him to me.
Right.
I'm not trying to fight you about that anymore. I'm not trying to have an argument. I'm not talking about, I'm not trying to do this summer thing back and forth and holiday stuff.
Right.
He needs to be with me. He can come and visit you. It doesn't mean I'm not. And so they had to go. They had to have that conversation. She said she had to cry. She had to get upset, but she agreed. And
Right.
so now the son is with him, and and of course, I mean, he was already a pretty good kid, but he said he's able to kind of teach him some stuff and show him some stuff. He said, I see the balance that I needed to give him because there was so much I
Right.
had to
Right.
instill in him that even in my times in the summer I couldn't do, but now that I have him on a daily basis, I can
Right.
do it. And to be honest, right now he is the single father of two sons. Well,
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
he has two sons because he was engaged to be married. That mother passed away,
Okay.
Wow.
and so literally he is
Wow.
raising that son who is now about to be a high school graduate, about to attend college next year, and he
Okay.
has another that is literally I think my boy is probably, I think he's 4, 4 or 5 years old.
Right.
So he got a huge age gap. But he is an example of a great single father who was
Okay.
really doing his absolute best to navigate. And see, in his instance with a baby, the mother's gone.
Wow.
The
Yeah.
mother's actually has passed.
Right.
So it's literally him.
Right.
And of course he does have support from her family and all, but so I've shared that with him. I said, I know you don't want to have everybody around her, around him. I said, but there's gonna come a time he's gonna need that nurturing too, because I know how you can be now.
Right.
I know how you can be. I said, so
Right.
you gonna have to give it. I said, you gonna have to give him both sides. He said, man, he said, I already know. He said, but I have to be careful, man, because I can't have all this. I say, and trust me, I understand, I get it.
Yeah, he
But
loved his
I try
son.
to
That
tell him
you
every
Right.
chance.
see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I try to tell him every chance I get how proud of him I am, because he really is doing a bang up job
Right.
for what he's been almost in his essence been thrust into. But I
Right.
mean, but like you said, that you have to give these boys to a man. Something Steve Harvey said, and I don't care what and I don't always agree with Steve on everything he say, but he said something one day. He said, "Man, it takes a man to raise a man."
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
You
it
know,
takes a
Coach
man to
Jay,
raise one,
I
and you
know,
have to be open to make that happen.
but see that and all this is still relating to that bubble, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's relating to that
Mm-hmm.
bubble. And like my son, he's been he's been a straight A student. Now he's going to a Catholic
Mm-hmm.
school. Yeah.
Right.
But
Mm-hmm.
when I take him around, when I go home or whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
he's familiar with the guys at the barber shop.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
He hears the different types of conversations. So not saying that I'm just introducing him to that, saying, okay, son, this is what you should want. But
Right.
it's also giving you an opportunity to see what you don't want.
Right. Right.
You see what I'm
Right.
saying? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's also giving you an opportunity to see what you don't want. You see
Right.
what I'm saying? Yeah.
I
Mm-hmm.
wanna
Go ahead.
Absolutely.
I wanna I wrote 2 points down that y'all were speaking on. I didn't want to lose them. This right here. When because y'all made a point about a child needs his father.
Yeah.
Say if a child doesn't know their father, never, really know them, mama probably didn't know we will, just saying. Do that child has an identity crisis because of that?
Man, them be some of the meanest jokers you ever want to meet in your life. A lot of the kids that grew up, I'm saying the equivalent of having a parent and not having one.
Okay.
At the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I saw kids that didn't have fathers, but their mamas was crackheads,
Okay.
so they didn't have a mama either.
Right. Right.
Okay, so yeah, that kid had an identity crisis. His daddy went there, and the person he could identify with was smoking crack. So that child, just looking at most of them kids, wind up being very mean.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and a lot of them be dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah, coming from those type of situations, because, like Joe said, when there's an empty void there, now you add that empty void, you add anger and resentment and contention to that.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
You got a tick time bomb.
Right.
Yeah.
Because can I add to what? Can I add to this, McKinney? Because like you
Yeah,
said,
for sure, man.
now you already see you already see one that's absent in your life and one that's in your life but it's not doing anything.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But you also see the people around you who have what you don't.
Oh wow.
Wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So now there's a level of like, well, dog, if his daddy stayed around, so what made my dad?
Man, look here,
Wow.
man.
His dad at home, so why mine gone?
Man, I didn't experience central AC till I was in my 20s. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So okay, me coming from Holly Home Project, man, by just me going to a friend of mine house from school that stayed in on the west side at the time, because the west side was
Country club over there. Country club over there.
Windover. These were nice, well-to-do places.
Yeah.
Man, if we skipped school or something and went over to somebody's house and they had sandwich meat in there and Kool-Aid, I was in heaven.
Right.
Yeah. Because we didn't have, to keep no stuff like that.
Right.
Oh, they got a whole case of sodas in here.
You know what?
And some cookies.
And cookies.
And cookies. Man, I'm in paradise. You know what I
Man, did they
mean?
have grape or red Kool-Aid?
Oh man, grape and red. Yeah. Yeah,
Mhm.
they had a big pack of cheese in there too to make a sandwich with. And they had a fresh thing of Miracle Whip that was real good to go on the sandwich and mustard
I'm
and
not
all of
doing
that.
this.
Yeah.
Right.
I wasn't accustomed to that.
So you start to question, okay, so why is this like this? Or, what
No,
was your approach to that?
that just made the where I came from, that just made me want to eat up all this stuff.
I'm done. I'm done. I'm done.
Yeah. Y'all got all this, you can buy all this right here, I'm gonna eat it all. Nah. Yeah. And I'm gonna wait the next week.
Now, see,
I think y'all done went to the grocery store
And come back.
Eat some more. Go ahead,
That's
Jay.
all right.
Yeah.
now, I can say I can say this, Miss Charisma, because like I said, I had a little middle class kind of upbringing kind of thing. But like my parents were like when they divorced, my mom was working, she did a lot, she worked a whole lot. And my dad was here. Later, eventually, he wound up moving, out of state with his job and all that stuff. So, and I was pretty decent in school academically. I was a pretty smart kid, whatever. So it was nothing for me to have honors days and stuff. And my name gonna get called. I might get some awards or whatever. So, but I know what it was like to look out there and see my friends had mamas and dads out there taking pictures and waving and smiling at their baby on stage. I walk across stage. Nobody might not say nothing. I might not have everybody in the crowd here.
Right. Did you act out in any way? Or did any of that make you act out in any way?
I used to be frustrated. I used to kind of be frustrated with my parents, and I said because I wanted.
If you didn't act out, what kept you from acting out?
I guess what kept me from acting out. I guess in my mind I was able to rationalize that I knew why they wasn't there. I understood why they wasn't there, but I still didn't like the feeling of being alone and
because you was a child.
I felt like moment that was big for me, and nobody there to help me with it, celebrate it, show me.
Just get to the point showing that he had a real good.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely.
That's the point I was getting at. Because it's gonna take somebody to kind of keep that head from going too far this way or too far that way.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Right. It's gonna take that, but see, then I'm gonna tell you what else to play a part in that. When you walk out the door, according to your neighborhood, what was you seeing? Were you seeing affluent people? No,
yeah.
I wasn't seeing that. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So, yeah, you weren't right. Yeah,
I wasn't seeing. So my void was being filled with what I saw.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And these kids right now, their voids are being filled with what they see.
Right.
Okay, so with that being said, I can almost say that bubble is being in that bubble is, to me, is a way bigger pro than being outside of that bubble.
It is. It is.
Yeah, everybody put things in perspective.
Right.
In my head,
you actually you need a bubble now. Yeah.
You need
right.
Let me. Okay, I want to make that second point I had was and this is like taking it back. Has the Black community shamed Black women so bad into, if the father is not in the house and a father truly wants their child, have the Black community shamed that mama so bad into giving that daddy his child, or it's just a woman just don't want to give a child to his father after 7 years old? Come on.
Has she been shamed? Has she been shamed into?
You know,
Yeah.
because we she don't keep or chill them. Oh, she don't gate them. Because what I've seen is what we'll do is
Oh, I see what you're saying there.
right.
And
Yeah,
they're letting
yeah.
the shame be more important than them
The
actually
well-being of
turning
that,
that child over to their daddy
Child.
for
Mm-hmm.
okay now. All right, woo, okay. I think,
That's still kind of yeah.
hey man,
Mm-hmm.
man, people live the way they live because of stigmas all the time.
right.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I think that got a great deal to do with it.
Yeah, I think there's some validity to that
Mhm.
because if you're honest, I mean we will say, even if we don't know necessarily
Think
about what's
about
going on with the mom and daddy, people tend to always say like them children always with somebody else. Why she ain't never got her cheers and you know what I mean? We'll say that kind of stuff and not even
We
know, you know what I
will.
mean? Just
it. Right.
unknowingly, just kind
Hmm.
of almost casting that silent judgment on people. So yeah, I definitely think there's a level of that the mama feel like she kind of better do it. She better keep that child or else. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I do feel like if the other parent is involved, and I don't see any shame any harm with the other parent.
Right.
But yeah, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I feel
that's a
bad.
good point, Miss Crib.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Cause now I really, I feel bad because you right. Them Negroes gonna talk about her so bad.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, so it's like she damned if she do,
So,
damned if
She
she
can't
don't.
win. Yeah,
you
Right.
can't
So
win.
catch
she can't
twenty
win.
two.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Right. But which
Hmm.
one are you gonna be? What's gonna be the lesser of two evils then?
Right.
Okay. I guess if I keep it, I have less people talking about me for keeping my child with me, than I have people talking about me for giving my child to his daddy. Wow.
And then in the same notion,
Right.
when they do that, when that child turns to a certain age, 14 to 15-year old, and that parent can't do anything else with that child,
Uh-huh.
I've heard people say the first thing she should have gave that boy to his daddy.
the same
Yeah.
one,
Yeah.
the same
Yeah.
one that was saying,
Same one to talk about you.
no,
Same
yeah,
one.
yeah. Keep
Hmm.
that baby, get that
Yep.
check.
Yep. Very true. You can't make
Right.
this stuff
Yeah,
up.
Or
yeah, you don't let
eh,
$312.42. Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Change your mind to keep your
Yeah,
child.
change your mind. But get your child getting
mhm.
your son getting what he needs from his daddy.
Daddy,
Well,
right. Like
I hope
what?
I hope you had a lot of shrimp balls and sun kissed shoulders and stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
Facts.
Yeah. Now
And I hope, and I'm just gonna say that now I hope that the 312-42 wasn't all that dad will provide
yeah, 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 yeah,
because
yeah, yeah.
I hope that 312-42. I hope that parent. I hope he was also present. I hope he was also showing up or wanted to be right. Let me say it that
Hmm.
Right.
way. Rather than thinking he was cutting that check or having it
But
drafted from his check and thinking he was doing something.
instead
Right.
of me, Jamal, I just want to say something. Ladies out there, I want to say this to y'all right now.
Say it, cousin.
Don't be pressured or ashamed or for whatever reason if you know that your son needs as much as he can get from his father. Don't let nothing,
Hmm.
nobody saying, under what nobody's thinking, detour from you allowing that to happen.
Right.
I mean, all jokes
Hmm.
aside,
Right.
I want to say that to
Yeah.
you
Because you're
because
looking for the end result.
the end result is what matters.
That's right.
The end
Hmm.
result of what matters. I
Right.
mean, why would I want to a drink of Coke and don't burp? I mean, the end result.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. I'm looking for a pay. I'm looking for a payoff here. So
Right.
Payoff.
yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
the end result is what matters, man. I just want to say that to them because you made a valid point, Charisma. I
Hmm.
didn't think women
Hmm.
may very well want to do that, but feel pressured in not doing it because they don't want to be talked about.
Y'all want to be talked
I
about.
ain't thought about that.
Right.
And they, like you said, what
Hmm.
they don't understand is you're gonna be talked about anyway. Because as soon as he get off the chain, or he get out of control, or he join a gang, or he run away, or he's stealing, or anything, they're gonna
Right.
talk about that.
And even worse.
Hmm.
Even worse,
Even worse.
you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Mm-hmm.
So I
The only
think.
way I think I would have an issue with the mama is in a situation like what you're describing, is if she's trying to deny access to the man.
Mhm.
To him. If she literally was like, all you gonna do is pay me and send me some money, and you can't have no other dealings outside of this, which I would hope wouldn't be the case. But
There's a lot of
but we know that sometimes that there have been some situations where people make stuff real difficult sometimes.
they
too,
do.
But
But
Jamal, you know,
that's the only time I would have a real issue.
if you put on something, you're not gonna ask me, Boo, McKinney, how did it look on me? What you think about this? If I put on something, I'll get a haircut. I'm gonna say, Jamal, how does my haircut look? I'm not gonna ask another man that. But
Right.
women will always ask what another woman thinks about something she's wearing, something she's about to do,
That's true.
something that she's thinking. You see what I'm saying? So what outside stuff does have a large bearing a lot of times on what women do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point, Karima.
And you know, me and my sister was having this conversation a couple of days ago. This particular conversation, I said the problem seems to me what you just said is that we have a tendency of women. It's good that we talk to each other. That's good. Right. But I am a firm believer of having. I got my husband. I have McKinney here. Not, I talk to my dad, but it's a firm believer that I have men around me that keep me grounded. I don't need women around me keeping me grounded because women are emotional people. And I need some logical thinking people around me. And most men think logic. They think what makes sense. When you go to a woman, she giving you her opinion from her emotion or what she feels.
Lots of time, you're right.
And that could be to me very dangerous when you especially making a decision about your children. Because if you're going to your girlfriend or whoever to talk about this, it's coming straight from a mother as being an emotional person.
Really, you're right. Just look at women that have older brothers. They different from women that don't have any brother.
Yes.
I mean,
that's true.
They're different.
They're different.
The women that have a lot of brothers, they're way more educated on the tactics of men. They're way more educated. Not only have they heard them talk, they've seen what they do. You know, so I agree with that. You know, but there are women out there that have substance. You see what I'm saying?
They are.
Yeah.
There are women out there that have substance. You know, but ain't nothing wrong with how you choose, and you're deciding what you're deciding from your own experience, Karima, and that's fine.
Right.
Yeah, that's fine.
Right.
Yeah, but that man, I'm gonna say this, and I'm somebody else to speak. That man, at the end of the day, is very important. For that child's life, and if that woman will let him come into her life, he'll be very important for her too.
Wednesday Herb said that's a two-edged sword, and she added this comment.
Okay.
Some men are emotional also.
Wednesday Herb, stop all that typing and get on in here.
Get on this camera.
Get on in this camera. Stop all that typing.
Yeah, come on in this camera.
Me Herb, your points are good. They're very good. But if you're gonna be on the show, you're gonna get in the show.
Come on.
So you get on in here Wednesday, Herb. Yeah, you got some real good point. Come on in this show, and let us, because when you make these comments, look at it, she laughing now.
Yeah.
When you make these comments, we need to be able to ask you questions about what made you think that.
Because I want her to elaborate more on that.
Right. You're not giving us that, time to get that where you coming from.
Because this is as we see it.
Right.
This is what it is. This is as we see it. So everybody ain't gonna agree with this.
Yeah, and as we see it, they see us see it. So
there you go.
We need to see you, Miss Wednesday Herb LLC. Yeah. But I do. All jokes aside, we appreciate all questions and comments.
Right. You do.
Yeah. Go ahead, John.
Well, what you got?
Not prepared today.
Jamal, what you got to add in today?
I mean, she's right. I can go with that. We got some guys who are definitely emotional. I got my ideas of where a lot of that comes from, but I mean, I
Come on
definitely feel
with
like it's true.
where it comes from.
Those, those are probably some of the guys who were parented by that was probably primarily by their moms, primarily. By mama. It may not have had too much more male influence. I mean, it happens that way.
Yeah.
Like I said, because again, sometimes you only get one side of a coin.
Well, Jamal, I mean, when we say I want to define emotional first.
Mm-hmm.
When you say a man's emotional to me,
I,
or you say, I think everybody has emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Men, female.
absolutely.
I've seen a deer that ran beside my car one day, and I looked over there, and he looked emotional. Uh,
That's
so
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I think,
Damn. That's like
right. I think we all are emotional, but I think a man shouldn't be too emotional.
right.
There's a line because
Mm-hmm.
I've seen some guys
When, when, I,
that you thought was the hardest thing in the world, and when they get in intake and they get back there in that open dorm after 4 days, they end up crying.
Yeah.
But they just beat up 4 jokers before they got in there. Yeah, yeah, but go
right.
ahead. Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like I was gonna say to your point, like say emotion, like because emotional. When we hear the term emotional
Okay.
nowadays, we tend to associate that with
You
what
got
we consider softer emotions, like in
it.
Right.
regards to crying or being sensitive. We call it, but I tell people all the time, anger is an emotion.
Mm-hmm.
And so now anger is an emotion that we don't mind men sharing. I mean, mind men exposed. It's almost acceptable for men to be angry. We kind of we because that's looked at almost as strength in most cases.
Mm-hmm.
From a worldly standpoint, for how people look at it, sometimes
I'm
anger.
emotional.
That's
Yeah,
that,
I
that
get emotional.
that's
Get what?
that's
And I'm here to tell you, I ain't got to hide it. I'm a grown man. Do I have emotion? Yeah.
right.
Do I show my emotion? Yeah. But guess what? If you take that emotion as a weakness, you come and try me.
I'm just saying, but I'm saying, but the vast majority of how people are, like you say, some men are emotional. I guarantee the context of that she's probably saying is
I don't care.
he's extra sensitive.
I don't care.
But I'm just speaking on how people look at that.
Yeah,
You
yeah. They
extra
talk,
sensitive. You extra
the
this.
person that
Now,
said
now,
it don't
now
even got.
everybody's supposed.
Person that said it don't even have a car.
You see,
Go ahead, Jay.
we know as human,
Right.
but as humans we gonna have emotions.
Right.
But
Right.
my thing is they know nothing wrong with having emotions. They shouldn't have you. You shouldn't be ruled and ruled by your emotions, or your emotions shouldn't dictate how you move and how you live in life.
Right.
You know,
Yeah. What about
so that
little
having
ugly
emotions
dog
is not the issue.
you had died? You cried.
I cried. I sure
I
did.
ain't talking about you, Jay. I'm just saying.
I did. I did. I know I cried with mine.
I'm supposed to be a prophet.
I,
Yeah. But
I
I'm
said
just
right there. I said
saying.
that right. I said right
Right.
on the hood of my car. I said right on the hood of my car and cried. That was
Yeah.
like a family member to me.
Yeah. So if you're gonna cry over Bambi or Lassie, you sure enough will cry over him or Ben. You
And,
know.
and let me make sure, because I think when she the Wednesday Earth said it, she said it was a two-edged sword. So this is, and I'm gonna want to address this when why I say, because those are, like you said, those are my experiences,
Right.
and I know what worked for me, and what works for my life is having people who can keep me grounded, and for the most part that those are men for me,
Right.
because
Mm-hmm.
I grew up with nothing but women,
Okay.
and
Right.
all their advice wasn't good,
Okay.
and it didn't, and some of it didn't get me nowhere.
I got
But when I started to deal with, I'm just being honest. Now we're gonna do this. We gotta be honest.
right.
But when I started dealing with talking to more men, especially when I met my husband,
Right.
it was another side of that. My husband has emotions, but he don't have time to be in his emotions all day, every day,
That's real.
because
You got stuff to
he
do.
cannot run this house in his emotions. There's
That's
already one queen and a queen up in
right.
here.
Right. That
I
is.
don't need to.
Right, there. Good
Right.
God. A good God.
Mm-hmm.
I
So,
get it. And
right.
I like the fact that you're saying, hey, my husband emotional,
Mm-hmm.
but he's not he's not living in his emotions.
In his
In his
emotions.
Right.
emotions.
He
Yeah,
leave
yeah.
that for me.
Absolutely.
He
It's a
leave that for
difference.
me.
Yeah,
Right.
right. Yeah, because that's
Right.
that's how y'all built. But
Right.
Mm-hmm.
nevertheless, you're not saying, oh, it's not okay for your husband to show emotion.
Oh, no, no, no.
That's my point. To
No. And I think that's what women go real wrong at,
right,
not
Mm-hmm.
wanting their mate to show emotions, because
right.
that goes back to the show we did. And I hate to get so, but I gotta say this. Um, y'all deal with so much, so much.
Yeah, we do.
So to be able
Mm-hmm.
to relieve that emotion, be able to have somebody who is not gonna say, "Oh God, oh God, he's so weak. He just so, oh God, I can't deal with him." But to say, you know what, baby, it's okay. You've
Right,
been dealing with this. You know, whatever you need to do, scream, kick, whatever you need to do, close that door. Let's deal with this. I need you to get that out of you.
there you go.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
There
Yep.
you go. And and in that, going back to these kids, these young men have to understand that, okay, as a man, if my son is going through something emotionally,
Mm-hmm.
then I need him to be able to come to me and talk about it. So
Yep.
I can put
Right.
that in a man, I can put that in a man's perspective for him.
Mm-hmm.
Besides him
Mm-hmm.
going out, showing, then not knowing what to do with his emotions, and then he winds up somewhere in the back seat of a Cadillac down a dark road. Yeah,
I'm down.
no,
Seriously.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But people take advantage of people like that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
I'm
Oh
being
yeah.
honest. I'm laughing, but I'm being honest.
Right.
You see what I'm saying,
Mm-hmm.
man? Soon as when you cross that threshold, your child cross that threshold of that house. They get on the bus. They get in their car. They are vulnerable to the attacks of not just say
Mm-hmm.
who's the devil. No, they are vulnerable to the attacks of Ray Sean.
Pretty
Yeah,
much.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yes,
Ray
it.
and Earl.
And
Yeah, yeah,
Earl.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and Keisha and all. They're
Yeah.
vulnerable. Yeah, they're vulnerable to those attacks. Also. So, you know, yeah, you can't just have your kid, your son, because he's a man telling, oh yeah, you don't show no, you hold it in around here. That when my son grandmama died, man, he cried like a baby, and I
Mine
had to
too.
show him
That's it.
because he loved his Madea.
Right.
You
That's how my
understand
son
That's
me?
was.
it.
And then
Yep.
years
That's it.
later, he broke down again,
Mm-hmm.
just having thoughts,
Yeah.
and I
Yep.
had to console him again. You see
Yes.
what I'm saying? But
Mm-hmm.
and I had to put everything in a man's perspective for him.
Mm.
But I don't want my
Mm-hmm.
child to be out here with all this different stuff, Harvard, all in him, and everything. All of a sudden, it turned into resentment and
Yep.
all of this, and then all of a sudden, you see your child going one way, and the next thing you know, he's going a whole nother because you ain't addressing none of the stuff that needed to be addressed.
Yes.
That's
Go,
it.
go, go, Jamal. You want to make a point? Because I'm gonna get back to some. I'm gonna write it down.
No, no. I mean, no. He's right in there. I
Mm-hmm.
don't have to really add too much to that. I mean, that's exactly what it is. Because what you like you said, if you don't allow that child to go ahead and deal with that and help them to kind of work through and process that kind of stuff,
Hmm.
that stuff turns into it can springboard it to a whole lot of other stuff that you
Yeah,
don't want to deal with. So I
yeah,
mean, it's best that it's best they get a chance. Like I said, what they talk about that bubble. It's best that that bubble is in place to get them an opportunity to deal with it in a safe way.
right,
Mhm.
right.
Because
But
without
keep.
that bubble and they go out there and have to deal with it, it's gonna be some stuff they finna deal with that you don't really want
Yeah,
that you
'cause
don't want them to deal with.
you better believe there's some people out there that were raised in a
Waiting.
bubble that are just as slick as them jokers is on the street, if not worse.
Mhm.
Oh, that's shoot, yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, they got to be able to recognize game.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got to
Hmm.
be able to recognize game. You know what I'm saying? And then you got to be able to give them some game. Yeah,
Yeah.
game applied means elevation, baby.
That's right. That's right. And that goes to we got to keep talking to them in that bubble.
Right.
Yeah, we got to keep talking to
Hmm.
them. We just, you can't have a bubble up and well, I don't show them, and I did this for them and took them here and all that. That don't mean nothing if you have not talked to them about
Right.
the things that are out there that are
Right.
waiting for them.
Right.
You are in a state of delusion if
Right.
you feel like they're supposed to know these things just because what they get to a certain age.
Let me ask both of you guys something. What about the parent when they teach the child um what type of person to look for, like to kind of look out for?
Mm-hmm.
And they describe this person as nasty and dirty and yeah, but they never describe the person that's raised in a affluent neighborhood, in an affluent area, that
Mm-hmm.
smells good, that dresses well. You know what I'm saying? They never give that visual image to a child as being someone that may be potentially a person that will actually prey on.
Yeah.
Mhm. Right.
What do you guys
I think
think?
that's right, Boo, McKinney. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's absolutely right, man. I think when you start kind of focusing on the outer and not really giving your child characteristics to look for in
Right.
people.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Like you say, bad behavior has characteristics to it. You know what I'm saying? You can,
Right.
and so you can give them the characteristics. So then they should be able to see it in whatever frame it's in. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? You should be able to
Right.
give them that.
Right.
Give them the characteristics so that way they can see it regardless.
Right.
You don't want your child to just be kind of so caught up. Right, exactly.
Yeah.
You don't
All
want your
right,
child to
Sarah.
be,
Okay. What you say, Cheryl?
you don't want
Go
they
ahead,
come
Jamal.
dressed as monsters, well dressed monsters. I'm
Monster
telling you,
dress well also.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
that's it, man.
Yeah. She
So like
right.
I said, and that's how we get to see. You know, only giving them one thing to look for, and you don't see the other one even coming.
Right.
Right. You don't. You
Yeah,
don't. Because you like
it's the little
Mhm.
foxes that spoil the vine. I'm sorry.
Sure do. Sure do.
We gather. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead,
Because
Rick.
we looking for one thing. Yeah, we
Right.
looking for the big bad wolf.
Yeah, them little foxes slide up on that gate,
Mhm.
tearing you to
And,
pieces.
old nice Annie over there about to
Bit
take
by
your
bit.
son for everything he knows.
Right.
Hmm.
She about to do some things to
That's
him,
it.
ladies,
There you go. There you go.
that you have not prepared him for. And same way with old Todd over there. He's gonna show your daughter over there some things, ladies, that you didn't
Right.
prepare her for
Right.
because you
But
thought Todd was a good kid.
right. But there are some things also now that we haven't seen. There's some game out there in California
Mm-hmm.
that I ain't never been to Cali. I ain't there's some stuff out there that some of us wouldn't even know how to prepare our kids for if they even went to college out there. Because we don't know they
We
Hmm.
got
know
all
right.
yeah, they're so sophisticated with doing stuff. But
Right.
like Jamal said, just certain characteristics. If they can, we can. Hey, look for this. Then hey, you might not, if you see a inkling of this bike up. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But y'all go ahead, man.
No, that's just the truth.
Right.
That's the truth. And I guess she's gonna kill me, but I'm gonna just say this. That's just from with a situation we've had to deal with the past couple months. Is that you thought you told them and stuff, but they get out there and like you said, we didn't teach them about the ones who don't look like the bad wolf,
Right.
and you end up in that and we trying to figure out how did you get in there, but I can say that for me and my husband that we just didn't address that part of it. It was like we was too busy trying to teach about the one who looked scary,
Right. Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
got the one who didn't look nothing like that.
Man, please, you got some jokers out here
Right.
that yeah, they dress good and they smell good and you know, but they in the house they got some devious parents that they living with.
Oh,
Hmm.
And
we.
they teaching them some devious, giving some devious game, and
Mm-hmm.
and
That's
they
it.
they're running with a crew of jokers that got well to do, and they and they learn how to manipulate on a whole nother side that you wouldn't be looking for. See.
Right.
Right. So you got to just because everything glitter ain't gold.
No, Joe, like
Ooh,
Everything just don't go now.
said something in.
And just because you know what they say, the grass ain't greener, the grass green on the other side. No, it was brown grass with a green light on it.
It was always like that.
Yeah, it was always like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But that's my little spiel on that right there.
So, also let me make sure I'm looking at my stuff. Yes, I just wanted, okay. So the children who, what we would say, I guess we would consider them. I don't want to use the word street kids. Do you think they have a better advantage over our bubble size kids?
In some areas they do.
Depending on what I would say, depending on what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Because I think something McKinney mentioned earlier, the kid who kind of has more of a street background is probably going to find it a lot tougher to kind of integrate themselves into what we may consider more norm culture or more mainstream culture and societal norms and all that kind of stuff. Because in the street, they don't have to deal with all of that.
Right.
Whereas the other child who's in the bubble, maybe to kind of they get exposed, maybe it takes some hard knocks, but they can eventually adapt to it.
Exactly.
Okay.
But I think it's gonna be a lot more difficult, in that aspect of it all. But again, like McKinney said too, there's gonna be certain things that child had that street background, you're not gonna nearly be able to pull on them.
But see
because they've seen so much game from a young age that some stuff you just not gonna pull on them.
You're right. Now here's another thing too. Now you can take that child, and you can take that child, man, and that child will think that they understand what they're looking at, and they'll think they understand what they're looking at, and they won't have no idea. And what I'm trying to say, that if you ain't careful, it'll cost them more than what they can afford too early.
Is elaborate on that a little bit more for me. Meaning what?
Certain things that could cost them to lose their mind. Certain things that they get in could cost them to lose their life. And what I mean by that is, okay, if you got two mainstream by the book guys, and they're having a conversation about something, and their idea of dealing with that is having a debate, right? If that person says that same thing to a street nigga, they might shoot him or beat him up. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right, because we deal with things different according to where we come from.
Yeah, that's true.
And this what would cause a argument over here may cause a huge fight over here.
Right.
So our kids have to understand that. Okay, yeah, you've been dealing with mama in this bubble, but you can't go over here and try to have your way and don't think that Lisa ain't finna take her shoes off and want to fight
you. That's true.
Yeah. Right, like, well, why are you trying to stay? She still hit her in the face. Why are you trying to? Yeah.
You have been trying to explain. Lisa wasn't brought up to talk about nothing.
Yeah. Right.
Ain't no talk at that point.
Right.
No, but see, you gotta, it's everything don't fit everywhere. And I had to learn it, and then, I think, and here's the sad part about it, I believe, most of the kids that are in the bubble, we have to kind of gear them toward kids that are in a bubble.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? That's just my opinion.
No, that is very true. I can, for my kids, especially when I see my son, because he's still in the house. Right. Now my daughter has, went off the, but my son, I see the same kids that he was in school with from the 3rd grade, the same little boys, right, who I know their parents, right, and we based on the same page,
right,
and we kind of do the same things with our kids. it kind of kept to me. They also, besides his, having a father in the house too, they kept him grounded because those kids that he was hanging out with had the
Right.
same morals and the same values.
There you go. And they
And
understood
so,
each other.
yeah, right. I didn't have
They
to
Right.
worry
understood
about
each other.
him going over to that house. That wasn't my concern. Could have
Right.
been some, but it was never because of the people.
Right.
They was trying to raise them in that same bubble.
Right. Now, then you can also take for a young man. If some young men start messing with young girls a lot early, and they'll be a little bit
Right.
more
Now,
savvy
you can also
with
take
girls.
a
Mm-hmm.
You can take a young man that don't hadn't been raised that way, and he wouldn't be comfortable in that situation.
Mm.
So he say, by example, he might see a guy say something to a woman that he finds offensive,
Right.
because and he can say, "Hey, man, why are you talking to that woman?" Then the first thing you know, the guy say, "Hey," he don't realize that you ain't supposed to get in that man's business.
Right.
That'll cause him to get hurt.
Hurt. Yeah.
You see what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, I think they gotta kind of hang with with
Mm-hmm.
with what their style is.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
You know,
Trying to try to sway too far from that because you don't know that you don't know the other side of that.
it could be detrimental.
Right.
Yeah.
Back in the day, if um a kid that was raised in the norm, quote unquote way, he came over. If he did something out of the way, yeah, we probably were gonna chastise him. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Chastise him. Bring him up to speed. But these kids ain't doing that no more.
No.
They
Mm-mm.
down. They got their little circle who they with. And if you come in and disrespect that, they're not responsible for what you don't know.
No.
And they're not trying to even figure out, well, that's Tyra Sean. He from double, man, they ain't he from double,
No.
man, he don't know. No, they're gonna put
Not
that
at
thing
all.
on him, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
put that jump in on him, and then next thing you got a child that's at Phoebe or been airlifted to Macon because he done said something.
I mean,
He done
is it
said something
true?
real. I'm
Yeah.
serious.
Yeah.
That's how I
Serious.
go. That's how I
Yeah,
go.
that's how I go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or,
Mhm.
or your child, especially if he dressed nice or something, and he got this girl that all the girls like him, he could be right there at Pizza Hut trying to get some, and jokers don't like him because they'll hurt him because of that.
I'm not. I'm.
Yeah, yeah,
That's true
yeah.
though. Yeah.
Yeah, we got to keep our kids aimed in a certain direction. I
Impression.
believe.
Yeah. Okay.
You
Yeah,
do.
and I thank God for the one like myself that with the raised on the streets and learn a lot of street things and all that good stuff, and that has its place in the world. But I can't bring how the home project into my house and think that gonna work either.
No. No. Yeah. No. No.
Yeah, no, no, no,
That
no,
won't work.
no. So I don't. What I'm basically saying to you guys and the people that are listening is that I understand that I do not live by street rules anymore. Understand that?
Right.
Yeah, I'm here right now
You
doing
just
my
ain't. You just
part.
ain't forgot them.
Yeah, I have not forgot them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't live by them.
Right.
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 That's a difference.
It's a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's all.
That's
And
it.
that's all I got to say about that.
Well, anybody else want to add something in on this, or you
That's so silly,
Jamal?
man. That's so silly, man. No. I mean, no. I mean, just. I mean, no. I mean, I think we said. I think we said a great deal. I'm just, I just really want to drive home, kind of like I said earlier, just how truly important. But let me say, truly important. Both parents are to a child.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there are certain things that all children need from their mothers, boy and girl. There's certain things they need from their fathers, and so I don't want any parent to take their responsibility lightly. If you have the, if you never should, no parent should ever downplay the role that they have in their child's life. I've seen that on occasion where it don't no big deal. I do this and that. No, if you're the parent, it's always a big deal. And so you need
Right.
to make sure that you treat that as such.
Right.
You know,
Mhm.
and and me, I'm all I can be as a dad, so I know I'm
Right.
gonna speak to these men like some you said earlier, man. If you are a child's father, you know you're that child's father.
Right.
Step your behind up to the plate and do what you're supposed to do.
There you go.
I mean, you didn't have no problem laying down to make them do what you need to do to take care of.
There you go.
You know, nobody signed up to take care of a child alone. Now, unless something happened with a death situation or whatever, that's something completely different. But nobody signed up to raise a child single handedly,
That's
and you
true.
shouldn't be content with just being a chick.
Right.
So you should want to have some say so in what's going on in your child and being able to speak to that purpose of who they are. So I mean, so that's just one thing I just want to leave with the parents, but especially the fathers, man. Make sure stand up and be who you need to be. One thing what we say all the time in my house, our kids didn't ask to be here, but they're here. So
Yeah.
now it's our job to make sure we do what we're supposed. My wife and I say that all the time. They didn't ask to be here, So but because they are here, we have an obligation to them. We have a responsibility
Right.
to them,
Right.
and so we need to make sure that you honor that. So that's just pretty much what I had. I didn't want to leave it at that.
Well,
McKinney.
Jamal, you took the words right out of my mouth
Mhm.
when you said now our kids didn't ask to be here. That
Mm.
that was gonna be. I was gonna speak on that. So you have already taken care of that. So with that being said, like the great Bubba Gump said, Forrest, I want to go home.
Yes.
Wait, no. I'm gonna let you go home first. I am gonna let you go home. Okay, guys, it's been a good show. I've enjoyed. I hope the audience have enjoyed. Once again, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to these channels. We will be back next Thursday. And I want to throw a topic out there for the ladies. Next Thursday, we're looking to talk about the dating pool. What's going on with it, ladies? Why are men not approaching you guys anymore, ladies? What's the problem, ladies? So we want to talk about it. Is it the modern women problem that you're having so many problems with a man approaching you and getting a date?
Yeah.
Don't be scared, ladies. Talk
Forrest,
to me.
I want to go home.
Right. Good night.
Good
Thank
night.
y'all so much
It's
for joining me.
always a pleasure.
All right. All right,
Oh
guys.
man, I definitely enjoyed my time with y'all.
All
Absolutely.
right.
Good night, fella.
Good night, guys.
Y'all have a great one.
All right.